Rana Megberto Will is your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. In the house with us already is Alistair Waters. Welcome aboard, Alistair. Bridge MCP. Welcome aboard, Bridge MCP. As well, E2247. Welcome aboard, E2247. The one and only Michael Rudnin. How you doing, Michael Rudnin? My AVQ favorito. We have as well in the house, I think I said Bridge MCP already, didn't I? Well, if I didn't, Bridge MCP, La Mujer de Nueva York, the woman from New York, upstate New York, who does her thing. How are my peeps doing this afternoon? We are still sending out our emails, getting folks out into the fold, and it just went over there today. We have a great show for you today. Hey, what's going on? ¿Qué está pasando? It seems like el señor Trump is gonna be meeting the piper. Of course, we can't get the trial for the documents in time. Well, because the judge seems to be taking the president's side. We don't know. It seems like she's taking it under advisement, but she seems sympathetic that Mr. Trump cannot start that trial in December. Why not? In 4 months, he's a billionaire. He can get any number of lawyers to search through all these things, can't he? I'm sure he can. Anyhow, folks, hey, Bridge, I got some great news. I went to the doctor today for my regular checkup, on my blood pressure, and it was in the normal range for the first time. So that trip to Chicago and being in the fold must have been the right thing to do. I hope in Chicago I had me some deep dish pizza as well. Anyway, in the house came let's see, Lee Grant has just joined us. Lee Grant, one of our favorite conservatives. Whoa, the trip did you good. Maybe getting me out of this office was good, but I think for me, 120 over, what was it? 120 over 80? I think that's what it was, 120 over 80. That is like magical blood pressure for me. I would be happy with 140 over 90, right at the cusp, but it was great today. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, is that me? And the lady said, yeah, that's you. Because just before I started, I said, I have white coat stuff, which means that, it means that when they're taking my pressure, it usually goes up. Anyhow, Michael says, how many different indictments will Trump face before the end of the year? He's got the classified documents case. He got the subordinate election fraud in Georgia. He got the DC has inciting the insurrection case. Several states are going to look into the fake elector scheme. New York still has a business fraud case. Any others? The man is just your general purpose crook. You remember when Nixon came out and said, I'm not a crook? Well, it turns out that Donald Trump is a crook. But he's one of the biggest crooks there are. And he's not a smart crook, but he does get away with stuff. Why? Why is it that the smart crooks get caught, but the dumb ones somehow survive? Bridge MCP says, having pressure taken always makes it go up. Breathe deep. Yes, ma'am. Breathe deep. Breathe deep. E2247 says, the Catholic Church repudiates those concepts that fail to recognize the inherent human rights of indigenous people, including what has become known as legal and political doctrine of discovery. That's a new one for me. I don't know what the doctrine of discovery is, but I will always want to learn. Let's see. Learn of Doctrine of Discovery in this series by Mark Charles. I asked the question and E2247 answers it. Thank you, my dear brother. E2247s. Let's see what else we got here. E2247 talks about the aforementioned. Oh, we're still talking about that. What else is here before I get into the program? Da Vinci Code from Bruce Pollard. How you doing, Bruce? Welcome aboard. How is California treating you? And when will we see you back in the great hot Houston, Texas? We're burning up. I have both my in this room is very poor. My whole house is poorly insulated. It was built in 97 and it still has poor insulation. And there are probably cracks all over the darn place, and I have to fix a few things as well. But anyhow, Anyway, let's see. E2247 says native names. Sken Marahari, Hanan Shanida. Brother, why are you going to do that to me? I can't handle all of that. Carl Cox made a good comment. You are welcome. Let's see. Where is Carl Cox's comment? You want me to read Carl Cox's comment? He says car insurance premiums went up for no reason, except for the fact the insurance companies are crooked and want more money. Carl Cox, that is why we fight the economic system, because we want a more equitable system that is not based on raising prices solely for the purpose of enriching the few because they can. Because they can. All right? Let's see. Alistair Waters says she's melting in Conroe. Conroe is right up the street from where I'm at. She's about a few miles northwest of me. And you know what? Yep, it's cooking. It's cooking out there. I feel for you, Alistair. We are cooking here too. I have units going like crazy, but what can I say? Anyhow, let's get busy. Let's go ahead and start with my good friend Alex Lawson, from the Executive Director of Social Security Works. We met at Netroots, and he went over why Social Security, or not Social Security, but why Medicare Advantage must die. My brothers and sisters who are in the Medicare realm, if you have the ability, do not take Medicare Advantage. It is a fraud. It will simply look good in the beginning, and you will go through what all of my friends who are in Medicare Advantage eventually go through when they really have to use it. Go for Medicare and buy the addendum. Go for Medicare. And if you just can't afford it and have to go with Medicare Advantage, help us change the system as a whole. This is going to take a lot of work from all of us. We are going to have to fight the system. We are going to have to make the system do right by Americans. We cannot throw Medicare back into the private domain. They dumped old people, they dumped older people, they dumped sick people, that private insurance that is, onto the government. And when they could gain no more from the masses out there, they looked at the baby boomers. They looked at the older Gen Xers, and they say, "Whoa! If we can pay off politicians to allow us to cover them again, but at a premium, then we can continue to make money against money." Every time you turn your cable TV on, every time you turn broadcast TV on, what do you see? A commercial for Medicare Advantage, not Medicare. Medicare does not have to advertise. They don't have that expense. They don't have to advertise. Medicare does not have to advertise. And what happens? We are spending billions of dollars trying to get you to get Medicare Advantage. Do you want to answer why? Ask why would they spend billions of dollars in advertising all over to sell you Medicare Advantage. They pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. We have a well-respected reporter or host, newscast host here, retired. They tapped him to do the Medicare Advantage. A lot of people who have faith in a lot of these people are now going to use that trust that people had in them to do the news. He is selling his soul to sell Medicare Advantage, a fraudulent thing that hurts people. Anyway, let's go ahead and go to my interview with Alex Lawson, the Executive Director of Social Security Works, and then we'll take it on the other side. Check it out now. Welcome to another edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. Today we're honored once again to have Alex Lawson in the house. This is Mr. Social Security. This is Mr. Medicare for All. This is Mr. Everything having to do with healthcare and your well-being. and services. How are you doing, Alex? Welcome to Politics Done Right. How are you doing today?
That's a big introduction. I appreciate it. I'll try to live up to it.
I only do what's right. Anyhow, look, you've been doing a whole lot of work with Social Security Works. You've been doing a whole lot with Medicare Advantage. Now, Medicare Advantage, I consider one of the biggest frauds in America. Before I ask you to extensively go into this issue, there was a time in this country where nobody would insure old people because it costs too much. Or if they did, it cost 3 times as much to insure them. The government did what it was supposed to do and insured people at not an affordable cost, at an 80-20, but they could actually do it. Now, the insurance companies, of course, the government, into somehow the private insurance companies coming back into the fold. Now, what I'd like you to do is run with it.
It's a great setup. So you actually have a lot more of the story than a lot of people, which doesn't surprise me. But I'm going to just sort of reiterate it.
Thank you.
Medicare was not created out of like the goodness of somebody's heart or something, right? Like it wasn't like, oh well, we should only allow seniors to have health. It was because insurers, what they do, the only way they can make money is by taking our premiums and denying our care.
Exactly.
So actuarially, it says in their books that as soon as someone hits the age 65, they have to get rid of them, however they can. Delay their care, deny their care so they die, throw them off your books, don't put them on your books in the first place. Medicare was created because insurance cannot provide health care, private health insurance. So the only way they can make money is by denying care. So when they got back in to the Medicare population, you know how they make their money? Denying care in Medicare. So the problem is that the vast majority of Americans don't know that Medicare Advantage is not Medicare.
Right.
So when they sign up, they're thinking they're getting Medicare. You know, they get sick or they get hurt, they get the care that they need, no hassle. You know, they're happy to leave corporate insurance behind. And then they find out that Medicare Advantage is literally United Health.
Right.
They're denying care. They just come up with crazy names for it, right? Instead of saying we're going to delay your care because we want to kill you, they're going to say, oh, you need a prior authorization from your doctor on that, right? Sorry, the doctor is who sent them there in the first place, right? Why? But they're tricky and they have an enormous amount of money. So it doesn't surprise me that the American people are under this illusion that private health insurance might in some way work, right? Because they don't understand the brutal reality that the way they make money is by denying care. And what that means is we work with a bunch of people. We have all these stories. We're collecting them. If your listeners or viewers have stories, send them to us at Social Security Works, socialsecurityworks.org. My email is alawson@socialsecurityworks.org. We're going to be hitting the Hill. We're bringing personal stories to the Hill on July 25th for the anniversary of Medicare, because we want people to know that as long as the corporate insurers are allowed in the Medicare system, they will be hurting and killing people in the Medicare system. I want to just say that again. It's 100% certain that through delays and denials, they will hurt and kill people by preventing them from getting the care they need.
What I want to put out here, which is very important, is the following. At one time, we were trying to get Medicare, through Medicare, to give dental and to give other forms that Medicare Advantage uses to coerce,
dental. Mm-hmm.
Right, to coerce people into their product. And secondly, I think it's important to note that the people who administer Medicare Advantage cost more than standard Medicare, yet the government continues to do it because of?
Corruption is really what it is. Wait, you know how much more? So my favorite thing.
I understand that it was 20% more.
Yes. See, I don't even know why I come on your show.
Let me tell you why you come on to the show, because there is a reason. It's not enough for one person to regurgitate data. it's important for there to be corroboration of everybody's data.
It's true. And I need to come on because I need truth tellers like you, and you have to be armed with the facts. 120%. That's what we overpay.
Right.
United Health.
Right.
The one that everyone hates, the largest corporate insurer in the country. They're the largest corporate insurer in Medicare Advantage.
Exactly.
We pay them $1.20 for every $1 that goes to traditional, original, or what I call actual Medicare.
Right.
And in actual Medicare, at 100%, you know how many delays and denials there are? Yeah.
And that's the reason why is because you don't have to ask for permission to get the care that you need.
You get it from, the permission comes from your doctor.
And he's a licensed
Doctor. And all the crazy thing is that somehow the belief that you could have the doctor, the patient, and then some corporate bureaucrat in between, and that would like make things better.
It is a fallacy. And by the way, we're talking about Medicare Advantage, but this is a fallacy that goes across the entire health insurance spectrum. But we're talking about one that we had carved out for people when they got to that age that they definitely didn't get care, and now they're trying to take that away.
They are. And we know why, too. It's because they're terrified of the progress that we're making on Medicare for All.
Right.
What they want to do is try to make it so that what happens is Medicare Advantage for all, which is just corporate health insurance for all. It's no different.
Yeah.
So they're trying to cut us off at the pass. And what we have to do two things. We have to fight every day for guaranteed health care for every single person in this country. If you get sick, you get the care you need. No deductible, no premiums, right? This is a system that all of our peer nations have. Don't tell me we can't do it when all these other countries
can. We're spending so much more money on it. So that whenever, I find it amusing because they would say like, well, in Canada, you have wait. My daughter had an appointment that she made. She had to wait 2 months to get to the doctor. In Canada, wait a minute, but Canada spends half the money that, or quite a bit less money than we spend on healthcare, and their wait is no more than our wait.
Right.
Right? And for emergencies, they get care. We may get care.
Maybe, yeah.
We may get care. Now, one of the issues, again, I mentioned the dental, ears, and eyes before, and a lot of the selling points of Medicare Advantage is they'll tell folks you have no premium to pay as opposed to an 80-20 up to a certain limit. And it scares people like, oh, well, I can get everything covered, not realizing that not because you got everything covered for the price of Medicare that somehow you're going to get care. It really means that you won't get care. Many a times you can renegotiate your 20% off in real Medicare. And nobody talks about that.
So I'm thinking because this is a really boring answer, but it's like maybe the most important. And you opened it up exactly correctly, but there's one thing that you're missing. So with that 80-20, what a lot of people have to do is they buy a gap insurance. So they buy another private insurance product that covers that 20%. And the reason is because you could be on the hook. It's an unlimited liability, right? 20% of some $5 million care, and it bankrupts them. Right? So that is one of the main selling points that Medicare Advantage uses.
Exactly.
It's dental, vision, yes, for sure. And they don't even provide real dental or vision.
It's a figment of the imagination,
But the real one that they really push, and so what we need to fix on our side,
80-20.
And it's an out-of-pocket cap in traditional Medicare. Right? So there's a bunch of ways we can get there, but what we need to do is equalize that. So we need to fight for Medicare Advantage, but we also need to fight.
Medicare for all.
I'm sorry, we need to fight for Medicare for all, but we need to fight a rearguard battle against Medicare Advantage, right? So it's at the same time.
Exactly.
We have to be equalizing the playing field for traditional Medicare. We can't allow Medicare Advantage to continue to rip us off at 120%. And all of this work is critical for that getting to Medicare for all. We have to do them at the same time. So I want to just tell you, and you spread the word, and maybe we can come up with a better way of talking about it. You say 80-20, I like that. But it's that out-of-pocket cap.
Actually, the out-of-pocket makes a lot. Actually, it's better. 80-20
It's a numerical thing. Americans understand what's my out-of-pocket.
What's my out-of-pocket?
What's my out-of-pocket. So that's a better actually thing to say.
And what we could do, obviously, is we could take some of that overpayment, the 120%.
Right.
Let's bring that down to 100. Let's take that 20.
Exactly.
Put it into traditional Medicare, add the vision, the hearing, the dental, and the out-of-pocket cap.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just simple.
It is not only simple, but again, you get out of, if we're paying 120% already don't that tell you that we have another 20% buffer to mess with?
Right.
And it's near 50% conversion already?
Right.
It's crazy.
It is. And the good news is, though, I will tell you that we are making progress
Right.
on the rearguard actions against Medicare Advantage. We have made more significant progress in the last year and a half than
Right.
I've been doing this for 7 years. I've been
Right.
walking
I
the
remember
halls,
when you started.
ringing the bell, being like, "Be worried."
I remember when you started because it was something that I've always been with when it comes to healthcare, because of family history, etc. I always understood the concepts.
Yeah, and thank you for it. And you're following it, and I love coming on your show because your audience are awesome. And they should know on July 25th, so for Medicare's birthday, we're going to be coming into DC. We've got over 50 retirees that we're busing in from New York and other places. We're going to be saturating the Hill, and we're going to be telling this story.
Right.
We have people who have family members
Right.
that they have lost because United Health
That's what
has
we need.
denied them care. Right? We have people who've been harmed, and we're going to walk them around.
That is the message we need. I tell you what, when you're doing that, I would love for some of you to be out there doing what we need to do to actually push that all over.
Yeah.
Because it's important for the senators and the Congress people to understand that this is not just going to be one day up the hill they have to tolerate and then it goes away. It has to be something continuous. Look, Alex, give me a closer.
Well, I want everyone involved. Your audience are the best, as you know. So they can come to socialsecurityworks.org, find out everything we're doing there. Fighting against insurance is one part of it. High drug prices is another, and we are taking it to pharma right now, but they are coming back with a vengeance. So we need everybody right now to just lean into all of our fights because the possibility of winning is real if we fight.
Alex Lawson, Director of Social Security Works. Thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right.
Thank you.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share.
Welcome to...
All right, folks, I hope you like that. I noticed that we are playing on all of our videos that were done in Chicago at Netroots Nation 2023. All those who sponsored the trip, we make sure to put you as the executive producer or associate producer and supporter of Politics Done Right's trip to Chicago. And let me tell you, we still haven't raised enough to cover the trip. So let me digress for 1 second here. Just 1 second, let me digress and ask those who have yet to, anyone who has the ability the wherewithal to support us, you can still support us by going to politicsdoneright.com/NN23. politicsdoneright.com/NN23. You can there's still a few more that you can, we'd love for your support to continue to cover this trip so that we won't be paying those exorbitant interest rates on our credit cards for Politics Done Right. So please support the trip at politicsdoneright.com/NN23. As you can see, we have great interviews. We still have at least 30 something more interviews to show, and this includes Secretary of, or rather the Attorney General of Minnesota, who handled the George Floyd case. That is, how can I always forget his name, right? But I'll remember his name. But it's the Attorney General of Minnesota. We also have the Secretary of State of Connecticut. We just have a whole lot more great interviews of activists, politicians, and everybody else that you can think of out there. As you can see, we brought you quite a few, including the one that we did with Randy Weingarten and others. But anyway, let's go ahead and get back to the commentary. Egberto, breaking news. I just saw that, Bridge. Michigan Attorney General charges 16 fake electors. The 16 people being charged in Michigan allegedly met in the basement of the state's Republican Party headquarters and signed multiple certificates claiming they were the duly elected and qualified electors for President and Vice President of the United States of America for the state of Michigan. Nessel said in recorded remarks, that was a lie. They weren't the duly elected and qualified electors, and each of the defendants knew it. She continued. I mean, we have to come down hard on these traitors. It is essential that we make them pay for attempting to overthrow this country. From Trump all the way down, because if we don't hold them accountable, they will do the same thing again. These guys committed treason. Let's be clear here. They committed treason. They are traitors. They are insurrectionists. They are domestic terrorists. Let's not sugarcoat what they are. That's who they are. Domestic terrorists who attempted to overthrow the government, which makes them nothing more than traitors to the United States of America. We have what is a purported democracy in trouble that we better hold on to. Bruce, it's going to be great to see you when you get back into town. Great that you're going to be back. All right. Rundin says climate change will bring more extreme weather events than our civilization is able to cope with, all with a trend towards global warming. What is crazy is a lot of the people that are going to be facing these global catastrophes are people that had nothing to do with polluting the air that's now creating this issue. And of course, the structures of the world will not come to their defense. Instead, they will spend their time taking care of their own. That's life. Carl Cox says the heat in Texas allows its residents to cook outdoors during daylight hours. Yeah, I guess they could cook on their black pavements, right? The temperature is high enough to fry eggs, to cook a steak. I guess so. Let's see. Michael says my own insurance is running out at the end of the month. I'm going to have to buy into some other hurricane soon, but I've been looking, and the cheapest good one would take half my paycheck. Gonna be a hard deal. You can't look. It's almost a time in our life, and I think about this sometimes, right? Where with all these things, maybe should we become a disposable? Those of us that are not wealthy, should we just become a disposable, have disposable things only? No real home, a home that can move. I mean, we may find out that the best thing for us to do is to have a small, mobile, transportable home that when catastrophe is about to happen, we can just move away from the catastrophe. I mean, our entire paradigm could shift because of the irresponsibility of the Western countries, right? Led by us. Our entire paradigm could shift. We are going to prove that what we thought was great technology may not be as great after all, if ultimately what we get is the destruction of our environment and the destruction of our climate. The problems with private health care, according to Michael Rudnin, including Medicare Advantage, are the copays, deductible, premium increases, limited coverage, and routine denial of coverage. Exactly. Alistair Waters says Alex Lawson is spot on. Daniel Ledo says, grab your wife, grab your kids. They're killing people out there. Actually, you're right, Rudnin. Daniel Ledo. You may say it, kidding around. But your Republican administration in Texas, they are killing kids and they're killing your wives. Ask those women who had ectopic pregnancies that almost died right here in this state because of our draconian laws. So actually, you are right, Mr. Ledo. You're absolutely right. Carl Cox is another example of how money, great corruption is killing elderly Americans. You're correct. Bridge MCP says many people with Medicare Advantage pay no co-pays. Depends on where you live. My brother has it and it works for him. Until Medicare Advantage is still for profit, and when their risk pool overshoots what their growth in their economy of their investors reach, that is where the programs start to change. Folks, we cannot just stay for the blinders. So Bridge, for your brother, he may be doing fine now. He may die before things go south. But the worst part about it is he may live before things go south with his particular Medicare Advantage plan. The private sector cannot, mathematically speaking, do better than the public sector with healthcare insurance. It's a mathematical impossibility. And even if one group gets good service, it is ultimately at the expense of another. Michael Rudnin shared the tweet. You know, I would like to start asking people to do that, right? Whenever we have a program, please remember to share on Facebook, share on Twitter, even though Twitter is sort of a dying machine. Share on Threads, share the link all over. Help us get this message out, and you can do your part. Many of you are contributing financially. Thank you so kindly. You can also contribute by sharing all our stuff, our blogs, our videos, etc. That is how we build critical mass, folks. We need you. We all need to be in this together. Alistair Waters says, I had two choices, Medicare A and B without add-ons or Medicare Advantage. Alistair, I get it. And that's why I tell people, if all you could do was the corrupt Medicare Advantage, I understand. But be with us as we try to destroy it to allow a true Medicare that covers everything, which is what, as a society, we should have. Nanette Bird-Smith says, I just have to say, some of these statements seems logical, but it has been my personal experience for the 3 years that I have Medicare Advantage, no premium and standard co-pays. Nanette, look, I agree. You don't see me dogging the average American citizen who had to choose Medicare Advantage. It works for them while it works for them. But ultimately speaking, whenever that particular group that you're in Medicare Advantage starts to falter, it is a for-profit entity, and it will go south and it will change on you. We have stories and stories. It either change on you, or you're denied coverage, or if you have some sort of cancer or whatever, they make sure that you can only go certain places where you may want to go elsewhere that does better for you. That's all. I am not at all disparaging my brothers and sisters who looked at their financial situation, looked at what the Medicare thugs were offering and saying, it turns out that the Medicare thugs are offering a better financial for me at this point in time. The only problem is when it fails you, right? It's not an easy transition to go back to standard Medicare, because at that point you have to go through the actuarial tables to get the gap, Medigap. And Medigap could be the thing that makes it unaffordable. And what we are trying to do with Medicare, with healthcare for all, is to ensure that we don't even have to go through this. All of us, whether you're old, young, or otherwise, should be in one risk pool covered by our great government, we the people. and have a health care card that every time you need health care, you go to your private doctor and show that card. You go to your private hospital and show that card. You go to your private whatever and show that card. Somewhere where we don't get billions of dollars being paid to executives and presidents and CEOs and advertising. All that money goes into healthcare. Help us. Even if you're on Medicare Advantage, you should be helping us destroy it into something better than Medicare Advantage because we can afford it. We can take all that money that go into the investors, etc., and put it right back into healthcare. We can do this. We should do this. We must do this. Chris Micah, it was great seeing you at Netroots, Chris Micah. Chris says, did anyone mention MTG was forgiven for all her PPP loans but doesn't want taxpayer to reap the rewards of their taxes? I love Alex. He is the man. Yep, and you just told everybody. Lee Grant says, my upcoming cataract surgery is covered by Medicare Advantage plan. I know. I hope you've been listening to me to tell you what I'm talking about, and I'm pretty sure you listen, Brother Grant. Nanette Bird says, Michael Rodden, my husband has Medicare Advantage, needed cardiac catheterization, and there was no delay or refusal. Our out-of-pocket was minimal. Again, Nanette, it's not a problem. Look, I get it. But please, 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 listen to my cautions. Those who can afford, Keith Ellison, thank you about that, Attorney General Keith Ellison of Minnesota. Please listen to my cautionary statements on Medicare Advantage. Lee Grant says the supplemental plans that one needs to add to the traditional Medicare are products of the same insurance companies you vilify for. Yes, I do. I know. I understand that, but it's 20%. And you know what? A lot of people don't. They take standard Medicare and they forget. They don't bother with taking the 20%. And guess what? A lot of doctors will say, we will forgive the 20%. A lot of hospitals will forgive the 20%. So remember that. A lot of people, yes, they do that. They go ahead and they get the standard good Medicare, which allows them to go to any doctor, any medicine, anything they want. And then many a times, the drug companies, because they don't want us to be successful with Medicare healthcare for all, they will forgive they will give coupons for the medicines, etc. Folks, you don't have to do it. All right, continuing. Michael René said, Egberto, 3-minute video for your live stream. Minute Earth calls out the U.S., Canada, and Saudi Arabia for cheating in their private accords pledges. We are currently emitting more carbon than ever before, even as countries were cutting back. This path ends with civilization. Let's see what that is, if it's something that I can show. Let me see. From Minute Earth. The link is in there for people to look at, Radin. I don't want to put that on yet because I want to go ahead and look at their copyright stuff because they may nib me for putting it into my podcast. So I got to hold back on that one for now till I check other things during the other video. Alyssa Waters says, I'm fighting for Medicare for all. Let's rise up and fight the good fight, everyone. You're absolutely right. Daniel Ledo says, government is paying all the bills. There's no such thing as private healthcare providers. Here's the deal. I wouldn't feel bad about that at all. I don't feel bad about there not being private healthcare insurance. Private providers, I have no problem with. I've spoke to my doctor with that. Private providers, fine. I love that. You have private providers that come to your house. They do whatever they want. They deserve a healthy pay. Absolutely. The people that don't deserve pay are the people who are paying for the insurance paying for the service for you. They're like taking 30% of all our premiums to pay a bill? Be for real, guys. Let's grow up and get smart. Nanette Birdsmith says, when a family pools of dollar fixed is fixed and paying both the Medicare premium and supplemental for exceed other implication in their fixed income, I have a question. These supplemental plans are private insurance carriers? Yes, they are. I see supporting universal health care. That is what healthcare for all is. And that's what we want. We don't want it to be, you have, some people get Medicare, some people get private insurance, some people get TRICARE, some people get the Veterans Administration. It's crazy and it need not be that. the country should worry about the health care of all. Carl Cox says, Medicare used to pay for everything. Reagan helped from the conservative for both parties change that. They're horrendous, and they should be ashamed of themselves. All right, Medicare Advantage is a supplemental plan. Just the same, just the name shouldn't be Medicare. It should not be Medicare. Egberto, the Minute Fact video was a follow-up for after your live stream. Wasn't expecting you to play it during. Thank you, brother. Michael, block that pompous. All right, let's go ahead now and play the last video. This one is Marjorie Taylor. I love her. She gave us a new commercial, guys. She gave us a commercial worth making. Check this out. We'll then take it on the other side. What makes an economy vibrant is putting in policies that are effected over decades, as Tag just indicated. You don't get the sugar high, but the thing about it is even during the Obama administration, if you take a look at the performance of the stock market, again, Trump did not beat it, even with the good policies. Well, the good policies that Obama had or the good policies that others have had. I wish we had even better policies, but I guess we all have to move to Minnesota if we want to see that. But anyhow, folks, I want to address Marjorie Taylor Greene. Here's the thing. You know that a party is sick. You know a party is defunct. A party has it's morally defunct. If the attack that they're going to make on you is because the things that you did or the things that you want to do help people, help the masses, make the lives of most much better. I want the president's administration to play this clip over and over and over and over again. Marjorie Greene Taylor, and her cabal, the Republican Party in the leadership, believes that President Biden is on the same order of Johnson and FDR. Who wants to create a great society or to help people or to make people have a 2-car garage and a chicken in the pot, and he wants to make their lives better. And you know what? Marjorie Taylor said, that's not good. We need to get him out of there because he's trying to make your life better. Remember, in contrast, what even here our governor is doing. Things to make your life better. To make life worse. Do you have a friend who is sick, who has no health care? Blame your governor because the health care is there. Health care is there if they would accept the Medicare expansion to the Affordable Care Act. Do you want better schools? Do you want better teachers? You know what? He says no because he refuses, as Randy Weingarten said, to give more money to the schools where they can actually provide better services if they were better capitalized. But would they do that? No, but he will give all these things away to the industries that are more parasitic than doing fine for anyone else. So let's hear what MTG, what Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks is bad with the Biden administration. And if you don't see this, would be concerning. Check this out.
While speaking at the conservative Turning Point Action Conference yesterday, Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia warned that President Biden wants to address issues like education, medical care, and rural poverty. Take a look.
Lyndon B. Johnson is very similar to Joe Biden. How are they the same? They're both Democrat socialists. Lyndon B. Johnson was the majority leader in the Senate. Does that sound familiar? He was vice president to Kennedy. Joe was vice president to Obama. He was appointed as the president after JFK was assassinated. Then he was elected. His big socialist programs were the Great Society. The Great Society were big government programs to address education, medical care, urban problems, rural poverty, transportation, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and welfare, the Office of Economic Opportunity, and big labor and labor unions. Now, LBJ had the Great Society, but Joe Biden had Build Back Better. And he still is working on it. The largest public investment in social infrastructure and environmental programs that is actually finishing what FDR started, that LBJ expanded on, and Joe Biden is attempting to complete.
So, Reverend Al Sharpton, that sound you're hearing is the White House thanking Marjorie Taylor Greene for the campaign commercial. Let's remember, of course, that in their first months in office, they eagerly embraced the Lyndon Johnson comparisons. The Great Society is what they were shooting for. They're trying to be the most transformative legislative presidency since then, those first 2 years when they had the Democrats in control in the House and the Senate. That sounds like, I think for most Democrats, that's music to their ears.
I was waiting on the attack. I mean, she said all of that, and I was waiting for, and what do you object to? She left out the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act, and she forgot to say that Lyndon Johnson defeated Barry Goldwater in one of the biggest landslides in presidential history in this country, and that Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump. He didn't inherit this from the assassination of his predecessor, but we won't let facts get in her way. I think that if I were the Democratic Party leadership or the Biden people, I would take that clip and run it all over the country, because the things she's saying that Biden stands for and LBJ and FDR stood for are the things most Americans want and many are living on right now. You're going to attack Medicare? I mean, I see now why they put out of the Freedom Caucus, because now she's in a caucus of her own, and it's not a very wise caucus.
And it is not a very wise caucus, that caucus of one. Look, when I saw that, and I just saw I saw her face on the screen before I heard the preamble, and I saw that, and I'm like, oh my God, this woman is making an ad. And it's the same thing that turned out the guy had said. She's making an ad that says, you know, and I always wonder about that. You know, we have so many people out there always saying, we don't want big government. We don't want this. Implying, of course, you want big corporations and big otherwise. And if you have those things, you know, the corporations, their fiduciary responsibility, the people that they owe, the people that they have to make whole, the people that they must do good things for are the shareholders and the executives, the profits that the executives make. They have by corporate rule, they have nothing that they owe to you or me or anyone else. They must do whatever they must do to maximize the value of that company so that the shareholders can get as much return on their investment. That is the business model of America. So when Marjorie Taylor Greene goes out there and says, well, and what Biden wants to do is take some of that back to make sure that you are whole, to make sure that things work right for you. In effect, she's saying, why are you going to support a party that wants to support you? Why not support those who want to extract from you, be parasitic to you? Well, folks, there you go. When your mind is so messed up that folks who are trying to make your lives better, you're shunning them. And those who continue to paralyze you, to harm you, somehow they get the spoils. Folks, we got to do better than that. Let's inform ourselves. Let's not allow others to snow us. We spend a lot
And do this. One of my audio channels is off, so I had to do this. Bear with me as I get rid of the echo. This is another mic. Something went wrong with this channel. I don't know what it was. Let me go ahead and fix. Are you guys getting an echo? Okay, let's see. I am getting an echo here, and I have to turn it off. So bear with me as I figure out how to do that, because that won't work very well. I think that's the way. Okay, I got it out. All right, we're using a different mic. Okay, I don't know what happened here, but I jumped and started using the other mic. Anyway, folks, like I said, I'm interviewing El Señor Tom Hartman right after the show for his new book, American Democracy. So if you guys have some questions that you want to ask him, don't put it in a chat. Drop me a line at info@politicsdoneright.com. Info@politicsdoneright.com. And I will go ahead and ask him the questions. Again, info@politicsdoneright.com. If you send me an email now, I will be able to ask him that question. Okay, let me go to your questions before we close this baby down. We got MTG is an ignorant, corrupt bleep. She is. Daniel Edo says, I would pay to see that. Pay to see what? Did I miss a commentary or something? Let's see what else we got here. Coming down. Daniel Edo says, best show ever. Oh, well, thank you, Daniel Edo. I hope you mean my show. I don't know. Oh, I think you mean that it's the best show because I was quiet. I don't know what you mean, sir. Lee Grant says he's probably talking trash about MTG. Oh, well, no, sir. I wasn't talking trash about MTG. All right, let's see. Mike Cisak says, now it's on. Thank you, Brother Mike, for letting me know it's on. Alyssa Waters says, wasn't working when the video was done. Yeah, I got to figure out what happened there. This is the second time this has happened. And it seems to have, it must have something to do with channeling. I'm not sure. So we'll figure that out at some time. What else do we got here? Michael Ronan says, now that the live stream is coming to an end, the recommended follow-up for after the show, Minute Earth calls out the U.S., Canada, and Saudi Arabia for cheating on their Paris Climate Accord pledges. We're currently emitting more carbon than ever before, even as countries claim we're cutting back. This path ends with civilization's collapse. Let's see. Daniel Lowe says, Tom Hartman is my second tier of roundups for un-American activities. Who's your first tier? I'm curious. Carl Cox says, climate change is responsible for fires in America and Canada. Bad ear. Bridge MCP says, DL is on my first tier of roundups for un-American activities. I love your comeback. You're so right with your comeback. You're so right about the comeback. Let's see what we have here. So don't forget, folks, if you have something you want me to ask Tom Hartman, just go ahead and drop me a line at info@politicsdoneright.com. info@politicsdoneright.com. Anyway, we're coming close to the end of the show, and I'm going to shut a little bit earlier because I need to go get a drink or something before that interview. Tom Zornick is here. He says, summer of 23, and things are getting... Oh, wait, this may be a limerick. Let me see if I have to read it like a limerick. Summer of 23, and things are getting dire. Temps keep rising, can't get much higher. Oceans boiling, cities brawling. How many more days before we change our ways? What will it take to shake us awake before each of us catch on fire? I get it. Higher fire. Boiling. I love it. You are so good, Tom Sarnik. I don't know how you do it so quickly at that. You're damn good, buddy. Anyhow, Carl Cox dealing with smoke 2 days now. So hazy. Sorry about that, Bridge. Daniel Edo says, their tier 1 includes Pelosi, Schiff, Biden, sorry, Egberto, you are 4th tier. Hey, I'm honored, man. I'm honored that I made it some one of your tier, Ledo. Thank you, brother. And putting me at 4th tier? Oh, man, I'm honored. Like you'd not imagine, I'm somebody. You know what they say? I am somebody. I was named 4th tier. And, 2 tiers down from my hero. Thank you, sir. Anyway, guys, I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies.
This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.